Ah, yes. Some sort of electric vehicle in China.
Again, must be Filippo's story.
This is a good story.
This is a BYD. Are you familiar?
Oh,
Build Your
yes,
Dreams.
of course.
BYD.
Build your dreams. I built my dreams.
They
On the Lexus LX configurator.
Goddamn right.
they announced this week that they've had a breakthrough in a combination of battery technology and like charger technology, basically, where they're rolling out 2 vehicles that are actively for sale right now or will be shortly in China that will be able to do 1 megawatt charging, so 1,000 kilowatt charging.
Wow.
Right now, the fastest, basically what that means is that they'll be able to charge something like 250 miles of range in 5 minutes.
Think about that.
Yeah, that's-
if you can charge 250 in 5 minutes, that's it.
That's on par with
There
gas.
are no more boundaries to EVs at that point, except like we don't like how they sound, we don't like how they look, whatever, which are reasonable.
Well, there are no more boundaries.
But it's done.
There are no more boundaries for the user experience. Yeah, there are a lot of boundaries in terms of infrastructure to support charging that can do
to that point, BYD is rolling out for the first time ever their own charging network in China.
Wow.
Because they recognize that there aren't chargers that can do
a
that
lot
kind
of people,
speed.
whenever the charging electric cars come up, a lot of misinformed people are like, the grid. But in this case, what about the grid? I can't get a megawatt at my house.
No.
So like, is this even beneficial?
There's a reason the BYD is building a charging network.
Right.
Because presumably they can put them places where the grid
But
can't.
every time I go to one of these EV launches, the automakers always say to me that 92% of consumers do 92% of their charging at home.
Yep.
So like, the charging networks appreciate it. If you could do it in 5 minutes, maybe you wouldn't necessarily charge at home, right?
That's the
That's
point,
exactly
yeah.
right. Then it would eliminate that fear that people have of like, I want to do 500 miles and I can't do a road trip.
Right.
Well, it's like, well,
You can do it in 5 minutes.
It
Even
fundamentally
honestly,
takes
10,
that long.
I would like
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
amazing.
But
It'd be fine.
fundamentally, you stop at a gas station. Pumping isn't a full 5 minutes unless you're in Countach, but it's close.
Oh man,
says
yesterday,
25 in
dude,
Countach.
yesterday I had the,
in California.
yesterday it took me 20 minutes to get 5 gallons and so much fuel got onto the ground. Misguided California BS policy.
For those that don't know, in California, gas nozzles need to have like a little tube thing that needs to be
There
engaged
is a
to prevent
seal on the
emissions.
fuel nozzle that goes into the car to make sure that fuel and fuel vapors don't
Which is
go everywhere, which is totally
scientifically
reasonable
proven.
and scientifically makes brilliant sense. But like so many bad California policies, they don't think about the 5% of people for whom this screws, and it screws all vintage car owners. And so when you try to stick the fuel nozzle into
5%
the
of
car,
humans, wow.
well, I don't know, 2%. Regardless, I guarantee that I got more fuel on the ground at the filling station by my house yesterday than all of the fuel nozzles in San Diego
Douglas.
County saved
Douglas.
yesterday. There's nothing I can do. And dude, I tried every different combination of possibility. It just doesn't work for old cars.
Probably isn't advisable, but isn't there some sort of attachment people like vintage car owners have to like?
It would be nice if there was.
think that
I could fill a gas can and then put it in the car, but like, I'm just trying to fill up my damn car. And yes, some vapors will go out because I have a vintage car, but instead, I'm telling you,
In the
a
scope
quart
of-
of fuel, a quart of gas.
Let me tell you something.
got on the ground.
Having been behind your car when it's running, there's a lot of vapor coming out the back of that car
not
anyway.
the big problem.
Just trash policy. But anyway,
regardless.
But BYD will save us all.
That is a really
crazy good.
notable charging speed improvement.
Yep.
Yeah,
with
no.
some battery tech improvement, but fundamentally more like charging technology and like how they do motors for charging.
May I
which
ask
is
you
really
the obvious
interesting.
question?
Yeah.
Do we believe them?
Good question. Yeah.
Remember they told us they made that electric car that jumps?
Yeah,
Like
like that
that-
deep AI, deep fake.
BYD, to their credit, is one of the most well-known EV brands. Legitimately, the market believes them. Their stock went up notably. I do think that there is
Tesla lies all the time and their stock always goes up. It's a great
I mean, you're right.
situation.
I think that this
Remember
is actually
Theranos?
accurate.
Is this that?
Weirdos.
I believe this is actually accurate. I would be way more skeptical
Get the
if
black
they.
shirt on too.
I would be way more skeptical if they said they had some like large battery technology development change. That's not what this was. It was a bunch of incremental improvements to existing like how you charge an EV.
Well,
And so I do believe them, and it's exciting. That is a. There are already cars that you've reviewed. The new Taycan is one of them that are on 800-volt infrastructure. And
yeah, they can charge
quickly.
in 20, 30 minutes. Can charge.
There have been cars that are in like the 100 mile per 5 minute range charging. This is not that big a leap, but it is a milestone for sure.
If it's doable, it goes back to what I've said on so many of these podcasts, which is the Chinese continue to run with a huge advantage because they have these massive incentives to make EVs in China, and we in the States remain behind. If BYD breaks through at 5-minute charging and we're still in the dark ages with our Mach-E's, this is another example of why the U.S. government should be subsidizing electric vehicles as much as in some parts of me, the capitalist in me sometimes hates to say it, we want to win. And if they're charging EVs in 5 minutes, they are
By the way,
winning.
$35,000. The back car.
$35,000 car. I can charge it 5 minutes, and it has a taxi thing in the roof. Okay, next news story, please. I want to take a moment to tell you about another podcast you should absolutely check out, Drive with Jim Farley. Ford CEO Jim Farley talks to some of his favorite people about what they drive and what drives them to succeed. He has great guests on the show, like the British racing driver Vicky Butler Henderson and one of my favorite people, Jay Leno. I've checked out a few episodes of Drive with Jim Farley, and I really love to hear his insights. There was a time when we only got to hear from automotive CEOs and press quotes and carefully worded corporate statements, but Jim Farley's podcast is personal, and it really shows his passion for cars, which is really cool. And this is a podcast I'm certainly going to keep in my listening routine. Click the link in the description box to listen to Drive with Jim Farley today.